Oh crap! So this is the start of something all new for me, and you could say somewhat exciting as well. See, for the most part, except for an item here and there, such as when we talked about Elvira, I have for the most part stayed away from NECA. I did buy a Chun-Li and a couple of things here and there, and I did buy the Elvira video on this channel, but I knew that this thing was a rabbit hole. There was no doubt in my mind that's what this was, and that's what this could become. I love things like Frankenstein, The Bride, Dracula, Gillman being my favorite of the original monsters. I like slashers. I wouldn't mind having a Chucky, but I knew that if I was going to start this, I had to pick a point that made sense. So, I said to myself, there were three main slashers of my age. One, my favorite, Freddy Krueger. He was the one that I liked the most, and I would argue he doesn't have a bad movie. Now, I know how that's gonna sound. And you could call me an apologist. But Freddy in the first movie takes himself decently seriously, but also kind of goofy. He likes to do the stretched out arms thing and kind of mess with people. Then like when she starts to run away from him, he drags his arms back in and chases her, and it's like this really goofy run. And he has like a morbid sense of humor when she pulls his face off and he laughs. Like crap like that. Like you can tell that he's, as sick as it is, having fun. And as crazy as that is, it kind of allows us to have stupid fun with the movies as well. And he gets goofier and his personality gets more pronounced even though he's doing truly terrible things. That's a strange thing about the slasher movies in general. Oftentimes, if you ask a person, in fact, I would say 90% or more of the times, if you ask a person, who's your favorite character from the slasher movies? People are going to say Jason, Michael, or Freddy. Or maybe Chucky. That's what they're going to do. Maybe, now that there's a lot more choices out there, people would say things like Ghostface and whatnot. And there would be nothing wrong with that. But you notice your favorite characters often come down to, who's your favorite slasher? And Freddy had this terrible sense of humor that kind of like let you get on board with him. And it was that goofiness that allowed for every single movie, even when they were bad, for you to just kind of go along with it and have fun and laugh and be like, this is ridiculous. Like the Looney Tune crap that he does in Freddy's Dead, where he literally like pushes a bed of spikes out onto the road and he hits that kid. And I swear to you, the first time I saw the movie, I laughed out loud, literally laughed out loud when he hit the kid. Pow! And then he's driving down the road and the kid is screaming and he's on front of the bus and Freddy looks over and goes, "No screaming while the bus is in motion." Ah! I was like, I couldn't help it. I loved it. He is my favorite. Since he never necessarily takes himself 100% seriously, we don't have to either. That's different when we come to my second favorite, Jason. Jason is always a serious character. Always. He is never played for laughs. He is a machine. And he is coming after you. And whatever reason he has his sights on you, you will not escape. You will not. In fact, he's been famous for hunting down people that survived the other movies. Just look at the very beginning. The very first movie, that girl beheads his mother, and he goes out of his way to somehow track her down, go to where she lives, and get rid of her. That is craziness. But because he takes himself so seriously, because the movies take themselves so seriously, when they start to get stupid, they really feel stupid. And it can be a little bit more difficult to step out of that seriousness and just have fun with the movies. Not that you can't. I've found ways to do it. I could tell you that I could watch every Jason movie. I can do that. Do I sometimes think they're a little stupid? Yes. And then I laugh at them for being kind of stupid, and I just enjoy the ride. And there's one character, however, that I cannot do this with. My least favorite of the Trinity of slashers that I grew up with is Michael Myers. And to me, Michael is portrayed as the most serious. There is virtually nothing funny about him. From the way people react to him, to the legend that surrounds him, to the idea about him, to the first and second movie impact, there is not a single moment where you are meant to see it as something cheesy. It is serious, and it is played serious, as far as I am concerned. So when Michael Myers devolves to a point in Resurrection where he is kung fu fighting Busta Rhymes, there is a reason he became my third favorite. Now you know how I feel about the Trinity of slashers, how I grew up with them, how I view them. And it is that reasoning exactly that when I decided to jump into NECA, I knew that NECA primarily, what I wanted was its horror figures. That is what intrigues me the absolute most about NECA. And so, I decided that if there was a starting point for me, it had to be the Trinity of slashers. And then I had to figure out what versions of each one I wanted on the shelf, as to not go out of my way to accidentally have like 20 different figures on the shelf of 3 different guys, and then trying to figure out what my favorites were. So let's take a look at these. I'll open them up, and we will talk about each one and why I chose that specific version. And I want to see what these guys look like together so that I can get an idea of what it's going to be like going forward and kind of measure the quality of the line with these choice figures. I know that was a long intro, guys. Some people really hate these long intros, but just to let you know, if you found this channel for the first time, this is more like a toy podcast of memories and fandom. That's the whole point to the show. Welcome if you're new. Let's do this. So here we are. We're starting right here. Freddy Krueger. This is Freddy Krueger from the second movie. Why did I go with this one? Well, there are a couple of reasons. I saw the first Freddy Krueger, and the faces at the time did not grab me. I didn't really feel what I was seeing there. He didn't seem like the Freddy I wanted. And I saw the second Freddy, and the body and everything looked more like what I wanted. He just seemed right to me. I don't know why, but he did. Like, the second Freddy really caught this part well. It might seem funny, but this right here is important. if you know Freddy Krueger over the course of the years, you'll know that one of the things that Robert Englund dealt with was that the glove felt heavy. And after a day of filming, he would often have trouble like with his side, with his right side. It would kind of weigh him down. So sometimes when he was standing in certain scenes, Freddy would have this lean where the claw was kind of weighing down that side. And that actually struck a strange silhouette with Freddy Krueger that just kind of followed throughout the years. And it's very subtle to the point where some people don't even notice it. But I could notice it here on the figure. And that caught my attention. The other thing that I really liked was that I thought the glove and everything really worked for exactly what I wanted. I liked the hat. I thought the body frame looked really nice. I loved the angry, nasty face. I just thought this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted from a Freddy figure. I didn't have to, it was perfect to me. It just felt right. If I remember right, he did come with another head. He did come with a fire for his back, and he did come with the hand that doesn't have the glove. But since the whole reason for me buying the Krueger in the first place was to get a more traditional version of Krueger, which I felt this one really did for me, this is where I settled. Am I against getting other Krugers? No, not really. If I found other Krugers that I felt that I had a need for, or wanted their props, or just felt like their body cap worked better, or felt like the design of these figures had gotten better over time, I would be willing to pick up another Krueger. That would not bother me in the least. In fact, I almost hope that I do find something else that really blows my mind. Primarily, one of the things I'm hoping is to get the secondary from this. I hope they release a Freddy versus Jason Freddy, because that would be peak for me. It really would. I love this movie and would love to have the Freddy and the Jason both from this together, because I just feel like it would really, really work. But that is my Krueger. He is fantastic. I'm really happy with him. And for what it's worth, these guys, they T-pose for the most part. They will raise their arms up. This kind of has give, which is nice. The legs, they aren't going to be kicking their own butt, but they got enough movement here that nothing's really in their way. They could straight ninja kick you if they wanted to. And of course, when I did the ninja kick, his hat came off. And this part right there clips right back into no, I may have actually broke it. That's the first time I really pulled the legs that hard, and this part just came undone. I'll put a little dot of glue in there and get that back to standard, because I don't want that. I don't want there to be a seam down there in case I try to do something else. So, and this is something that I've heard from a couple of people. Like, see, once I got him, I posed him around a little bit, and then I set him up, and then I just basically never touched him again. And he's been standing in one spot for a very long time. So that was the first time he got heavy movement, and immediately I broke the little seam here. See, that gave way. I don't necessarily think it's anything that would ever necessarily be noticed, but since I notice it, I'm going to go back in there, put a dot of glue, hold that together, and seal it again. But yeah. Krueger. Let's go to the next guy. Oh, NECA, you are not off to a great start. Here's one of the machetes. Broken in the package. That's a shame. It's the bloody version machete. It's something I can fix, I believe. A small dot of perfect Gorilla Glue. Hold it on there just right for a while. Don't mess it up. And I could fix it. It's a clean break, but it's a break nonetheless, and we haven't even started yet, and it was in package, sealed, broken, even with the tab sitting over it. So in here, there's a little piece of plastic over that piece of plastic, and still it was broken. And these aren't even like held in tight. They were so loose that once I took off the overpiece, these just fell out natural. So That's bothersome. That worries me a little bit. It hurts the NECA a little bit. We got a teddy bear. For a second, I thought maybe he was articulated. He is not. But we got like a little teddy bear here that came with him. And this is one cool thing about NECA that I'm going to give it. You buy like 3 or 4 of them, and you've got yourself a little set of displays already. Like you're already into the camera business here. You can get some real photography out of these guys. There are 3 different masks. There's the basic mask that he's already wearing. One that's all cut up because it's already been clawed in the face a couple times by Freddy. And then there's the super bloody mask. Cool. 3 masks. We have a standard machete that has yet to be bloodied. Not a bad idea. Solid. That's cool. And for a slip over on the machete, we have this, which is really cool. It might go this way. That is tremendously awesome. That is cool. That's a flame effect for the machete for when the machete was on fire during the movie. That's really awesome. That's amazing. That's super sick. I love that. I think that's fantastic. And I like that it's an effect, so you can have it on the machete or you can not have it on the machete, and then that allows you to figure out what you want to do. Now, why did I pick this one? Actually, believe it or not, the one that I believe I wanted was I wanted the Jason when he gets resurrected and he fights the girl. I wanted one of 2 things. I wanted the one where he first gets resurrected, like when he gets stabbed and then the lightning bolt hits him and he gets back up. I either wanted that Jason, or the other Jason that I thought that I might want was the one where he fought the girl with the superpowers, basically. These Jasons seem like good choices, and I still will probably pick them up. But this decision was made for me when I went to a place called the Overstock Toy Store. And the Overstock Toy Store, what they do is they buy overstock. Toys where either the boxes are damaged or for some reason maybe they were lost in transition or whatever situation occurred, for some reason these toys weren't sold. And so then this guy will buy up the pallets and then sell them for very low values. So this guy I got for like $20, and for a NECA, especially to start my collecting line in NECA, this seemed like a really good idea. Now you might say, oh, well, Bill, that's why the machete's broken, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. That's still not an excuse, because looking at this box was nearly in perfect condition, and he was still tied in by the tabs and everything. This was over it. There was still tape on it. Nothing packaging-wise had ever really been disturbed on this figure. My guess is that it was torn across the top where this is, and then that put it on a quality check, and for whatever store had it, they decided not to put it on the shelves because of that, and then that put it on a pallet, which could then be bought as overstock, and that's what ended up happening with him, because there's nothing wrong in terms of the figure in general, and so that really does come down to a NECA issue. But I will say, sometimes these things happen. This may not be like a NECA quality thing, like NECA has really bad quality. I don't personally know this. I don't have enough experience inside of NECA to make that judgment call. I would be curious if other NECA collectors have noticed NECA quality issues. That would actually help me out a lot in terms of moving forward in future figure collecting for NECA, and how like gung-ho or careful I should be when selecting whatever versions of these characters I select. We've got a decent T-pose and everything that we can do here. It seems like he's not going to have a problem with stuff like that. The mask comes off, and he has his super ugly zombie-esque face, which is actually pretty cool. I would say that this is fairly in line with him having come back from the dead and like still have that deformity and everything like that he was known for when he was a kid. I actually think that that's really cool. I actually like that quite a bit. And I feel like this is a decent design of taking a lot of different Jasons and putting them together. I think this works very well. I like it. And I also like his really big giant boots, because years ago I did a video podcast where I talked about modern versus classic monsters and how a lot of classic monsters have found real life in newer concepts. And one of them that I talked about was, I feel like Jason in some ways is a reimagining of the Frankenstein's monster in some different ways. And like I was just kind of qualifying the idea of where some of these monsters kind of went, what they became over time for modern ages, and why they're not exact. I wouldn't tell you that this guy is Frankenstein. I would tell you that there are some issues with him that very much fit the Frankenstein body mold and character design, and that was something that always hit me about Jason, is I kind of felt like that. This guy is really cool. I like him. He seems very stiff. I'm having a bit of trouble with him, but he's not bad. He's got this big open hand for like grabbing onto somebody's face or something, you know, which is kind of cool because he can literally like reach out and grab you. I like that. I like his machete hand. He's going to look good. Question? That scales nicely. That actually scales real nice. Right there, I can even kind of have Freddy look up. Oh no! Boy, I'm having all kinds of issues tonight, aren't I? There. Kind of put you like this. Have you kind of looking up a little bit. Have you with your hand back. You're kind of back. You're kind of looking down a little bit. Look at that, right there. There, I got one. I got a scene right there, out of nowhere. Nice. It can be done. With very little trying, I got a scene right there because the proportions and everything do feel quite right. I like this. I do. I'm going to try to put this machete in his hand and see what kind of problem I come out with. Hopefully I don't break this one. Nope. No issue. Got it. Got it first time. No real problems putting it in his hand. It's in there now, and it looks like it worked. And he's got it. And, yeah, okay, I like this. I do like him. I think he's solid. I think he's cool. But that is the reason I ended up buying this Jason. He is not necessarily my first choice, but I wanted the 3 slashers, and this is what got me in the door right here. So now it's time to check out Michael Myers. I want to see how he looks and tell you why this is the one that I chose. Okay, Mike comes with a lot. He comes with the head of this dead guy. See, that guy, he's dead. He's very dead now. He comes with an extra head, an extra Mike Myers head, which this one, I got to admit, it's incredibly similar. I can tell that there's a difference, but I mean, I really got to look at it to see the difference. I feel like this one's a little more eerie to me, and maybe my eyes are even playing tricks on me, but I feel like this one's a little better than this one, so I'm probably going to end up swapping heads. He comes with multiple hands, so he comes with expression hand. He comes with grip hands, 2 of them. He comes with a mild kind of grip hand. It's kind of like open. Maybe it's in another expression hand, but this is more of an expression hand. He comes with this hand where his fingers have been cut off, which is pretty cool. He comes with a hammer. And then he also comes with a fire poker. And his customary butcher knife, which we are going to attempt to put that in his hand right now. So, there's his hand. Open it up a little bit. Come on. There we go. There. He's got his knife. I'm happy with him having his knife. That's always awesome. The other thing that he comes with is he comes with the gravestone, which I thought that was really cool. He also comes with this pumpkin, which I was not expecting at all. And it even has an effect. It has like a literal, like, candle flickering light. So you can put it in the background here. And it actually sits back there and creates... That's really cool. I like that a lot. So, why this one? Why the Ultimate Michael Myers Halloween from the... why this one in particular? I felt that of all the Michael Myers figures I have seen, this was the best. And I did notice, unlike Jason and unlike Freddy, this sculpt has gotten better. I could tell, like, you see what I'm getting at? He has like the double joints here and whatnot. I think that's pretty impressive when we really stop and think about it. Because it means that the more that they keep releasing figures, the better these figures are getting. And of course, that's what we would expect. So I'm thinking that it might not be a bad idea to go see that Ultimate Freddy Krueger. Because there is an Ultimate Freddy Krueger as well that I passed up on. I seen him, but I passed up on him. Makes me feel like I need to go take a second look. Because his posability might be better. And maybe some of his parts and whatnot from my Freddy I can actually switch over and kind of use. And so it wouldn't really matter all that much that it is different. We're going to pull his head. He has like just this one little peg here that's going on. Not bad, but it's not great either, but I think it'll do the job. Oh my, come on. These are a little difficult, I'm going to be honest with you. Switching his hand was kind of a pain too. There. I still don't necessarily feel like that's on there. I almost feel like his head is way too high now. I don't necessarily love the overall build of these. But they are working for me. I like that he can kind of do that head tilt thing, you know, when he's like sitting there and he's looking and he does that when he stabbed that guy up against the thing and then he kind of tilted his head and kind of gave it that weird look. And then kind of tilted his head back again. I really liked that scene. There was something really creepy about that scene that I've always admired. I think his head is on there. I think it's on there good. But yeah, for what he's worth, I don't hate him. He's got a decent jumpsuit thing going on. I wish he stood better. I'm having a lot of trouble with the ankles and whatnot. There, I think I got him. He's giving me a lot of trouble in terms of standing. In fact, he's giving me the most trouble in terms of standing as opposed to any other character so far. So here's him. Jason appears to be taller, which is fine. That's actually way fine because I feel like he is the biggest of them. And Freddy, I would actually say, should be the smallest of them. And it seems like he is. And there we go. Look, that's them, guys. That is the trio. That's the slasher trio that I grew up with. And they do look really good. So what do I feel about this everything said and done? Well, to be honest, I still have some honest reserves here. So far, I do not have many NECA figures. Some NECA figures I didn't even realize I was buying. Years ago, I bought a couple Street Fighter, and I didn't even realize they were NECA. I just bought them at Toys R Us because I thought they were cool. Recently, I have an Elvira, and now I have the 3 slashers. And each one seemed to have come with their own problems. Now, maybe as I use them and break them out, and get used to them and do some shots with them and everything, maybe that changes. Maybe they do get better and better and better. But I have my reserves as to the way they feel. They're all kind of bulky. They just feel kind of bulky. And they feel rough, like they almost resist me moving them around and whatnot. And they don't seem like they pose or move very well. They look fantastic. I mean, they are exactly what I want them to be. They look great. But I do have some reserves here. I would like to be able to talk to a couple people that have collected NECA, that have a better understanding of it than I do, and not necessarily like hard fans or apologists, but people with real concerns and interests into what's wrong with NECA and what works with NECA. The figures that they've had that are standout, the figures they've had that aren't so good, and they like them for what they are, but they will admit that they're not great figures. Those are the kind of people that I want to talk to the most, because especially like photographers that have really spent some time with these figures and really found out the ins and outs of, well, I have trouble doing certain poses, they look great, but they give me troubles here and things like that. I would love to hear from people like that, because that would give me a real honest idea as to what to seek out and what to move forward with from this point so far. For what it's worth, they're going to go on my movie shelf. They won't actually stay on this shelf up here, because I feel like they'll look really good down with all the movies, especially if I can put them on the shelf next to their specific movies. That's fantastic. I think that's absolutely great. So like I said, I'm a little torn here. Now, you know, in this show, I don't necessarily grade them. I say whether or not they're here to stay. So very few times have I actually opened a figure and said, I think this is going bye-bye. I am adding them to the shelf. I do think they're cool, but they are not without their problems. And if better figures came along, I would replace them. So far. That's where I am so far. That's where my mind is. Let me know what you guys think. And I have begun my journey into NECA. Though I don't know how far in, I'm still willing to, put it this way, I'm not diving into the pool of NECA. I'm still walking down those steps, feeling the cold water as it creeps up my legs and wondering how far I'd really like to go into the pool, because I can already tell that it's kind of cool. It's kind of cold. That's where I am right now. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.